Alright, we've got our likely league starter. I just finished the process of buying a bunch of terrible gear to test it in T15 maps that are fully exalted. We've got all of the actual decent gear over here. Deliberately put dead runes in here that give int for no reason. The suffixes on this are good, but I was trying to elicit what the character is going to play like with Nova projectiles, so ignore that the bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows. Obviously you're not going to have that early. But we are going to be using Nova Proj. Just TLDR, Witchhunter with weapon set passive skill points. These are really strong. I think Decimating Strike is going to be great because monsters are getting a health increase. Also, I think Zealous Inquisition is going to be great because 100% of their max life is dealt as Fizz on an explosion. Chances doubled for undeaded demons. I think we're going to be running Breach again. And I've got pretty much defensive jewels. This one has some crit chance in it and a little bit of ailment mag, but man on kill is like the primary thing here. We've got a Heart of the Well in there. This is probably the only like unrealistic item in the character. But this is all stuff that you can get early if you have like an important purchase order or a hierarchy of purchase order for your items. We've got a Controlled Metamorphosis. This isn't going to have the Chaos Res mod. We're rushing CI as soon as possible. And then, yeah, just defensive jewels, whatever, so I don't die during my testing. Obviously, you're not going to have 10,000 energy shield on day 2, day 3. I imagine this is going to say like 6.5 or something, so. But yeah, I'm not trying to sweat my soul out while making a video on some maps that you guys aren't going to be running day 2 anyways. But, 1 attack speed rune in here, because you can't use 2. This has 2 dead stats with the T3 lighting mod. I put this ring in because my character was like contingent on the headhunter stats. We're just not going to run with the belt. Purely defensive boots with some rarity on them. Pretty bad ring. T2, T6, dead roll max mana with some res so I don't get one shot. 2 dead stats on the Ami. Dead stat on the helmet, purely a defensive layer anyways. These 3 are just like straight defenses. Yeah, the bow, already talked about, tier 2, tier 3, tier 3. Damage is high because it happens to be an obliterator. Obliterators, hopefully you can get one for cheap early. And a Kidiros, which is pennies on League Start. Yeah, that pretty much covers the League Start character. Tooltip isn't anything crazy. This will print enough currency for you to get whatever you need to online. We've got the Boneshatter tech, obviously. This is as fast as it's going to move next league. We've tried our best to simulate how quickly the character is going to navigate with Diala's Desire scaling the attack speed quality on Boneshatter. Obviously, you should put Rigwald's Ferocity in here, but this is how we're getting it to move as fast as it's going to move next league, knowing that Rigwald's is going to get nerfed. In a perfect world, you actually use this item and that item, but ignore that this support gem is socketed. It's just to simulate how it's going to play next league. You're not going to have access to this specific support gem early in the game because the drop rate is incredibly low. Ghost Dance is inactive. You can ignore that. We don't have evasion anyways. Herald of Thunder. Imagine this is 4 socketed. This has blind in it, so that's not really important. Yeah, so imagine this plays like that. We can just do that anyways. Charge regulation is not going to have a more multiplier. We've already taken into account this with the Boneshatter. Still, this is about as fast as it's going to move because this quality is only giving this 10% more attack speed, 1.1x multiplier, 35% increased attack speed from Wigwald's is better than a 1.1x multiplier. Ugh. Alright. Wind Dancer, obviously all these supports are defensive. This isn't going to affect our damage on screen. Barrage, this is making it cost less mana, not as important. Yeah, the Lightning Rod with Rakiata's Flow. I won't lie, we've been testing boss kills with Lightning Rod using only 3 clicks because you're only going to have 10 rods. The only thing keeping this single target online is Tornado Shot. If you don't get a Tornado Shot in your boss kill, good luck, buddy. Good luck, buddy. But we'll remove that. I'll show boss killing in the video. I'll show a Zesht kill at tier 3. Remember, at the stage of the game where you're going to have gear like this, day 2, day 3, day 4, you are not going to be on tier 3 Zesht. Unless you're like specifically blasting towards pinnacle content. Obviously, it depends on the kind of player you are. But, yeah, we've got some Armor Break Resonance going for Frenzy Charge Generation. and we've kind of just been running fully alked, fully exalted maps. And we ran this with delirious percentage originally to simulate, I guess, emulate, simulate, I don't know what the correct term would be, what it would be like to play with the max proficiency on the map. But yeah, the character is pretty solid. Kadiros is going to hard carry your clear, and this is pretty much what the gameplay loop is going to be like until we have enough money to sack for Abyssal Lich. So I wanted to league start Abyssal Lich with Twister, but because you have to do the Kulamox Ascendancy change thing, you need a character that's like strong enough to do it, and league starting Abyssal Lich means you probably have to play Essence Drain Contagion, and I really do not feel like playing Essence Drain Contagion. So we are going the Witchhunter route. I think Witchhunter is really strong. I think this character is probably the most underrated Ascendancy in the game. I feel like I don't ever hear anybody talk about it. And yeah, I'm excited. I don't mind playing Lightning Arrow for a league start. Stack some paper. The Twister build is insane. We played it for, say, a couple hours on stream. I'm not going to kill the boss because then I lose my Sand Spit. I'll show you a pinnacle kill, but yeah, if you need to test builds and you're maybe looking to see how your character will play early, you can always, at this stage of League, just buy terrible gear off trade. Keep in mind that you have to read the patch notes and see what actually changed with your interactions. So, for example, we got the 2 additional arrows because next League, this is a stat that we're going to need to use, but if I wanted to test what Galv Shards is or Nova Projectiles is going to play like, this is obviously going to give us more arrows than we need. We had this one. This is going to be closer to how the Nova Projectiles is going to play next League because it doesn't give you additional projectiles, but it also doesn't nerf your damage. But the issue is this bow does infinity damage, so I don't want to show this in a showcase to imply that you're going to have like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 warmonger, right? So keep that in mind. Like, try to stay fair with your tests or whatever. But yeah, our goal is to use Nova Projectiles, benefit from Kadiros, and make sure that you're looking at what skills are getting nerfed and what skills are getting buffed. Everything you intend on using, just Control F, search it in the patch notes. I think this character will be really strong really early. Boneshatter tech is probably still going to be the fastest thing in the game, outside of maybe Pathfinder with Sprint. But Pathfinder with Sprint and the you can't get stunned element are definitely going to be a similar gameplay loop, because if you look at how this character plays, it's move fast, stop, and then move fast, stop, as opposed to like a Roa, which is like at a constant steady speed. And Pathfinder will work the same way, right? Because Pathfinder is going to be sprint, stop, and they're not going to have to use a weapon swap for that. So maybe there's a world where they get that character super duper fast, but ultimately this character does not have to use movement speed in the tree, which is really nice. We'll go over the tree in greater detail and I'll explain some of the decisions, but yeah. Also, we'll definitely get to the boss kill. Just want to show what some of the clear is going to look like. And yeah, if you wanted to test your build over and over, you can find a Sand Spit on your Atlas and just don't kill the boss, and when you're done with your map, you wanted to test out your clear or benchmark anything, whatever, just go back to your hideout, and so long as you don't kill the boss, you can run another map over the one you just did, and you can get back in there and test out different support gems and whatnot. Keep in mind, you're not going to have 5 socket items early unless you know what you're doing. The purchase order for your character is going to be different. Some of you are going to play skills that have less gems or whatever, less like need for support gems. So keep that in mind. Obviously, Lightning Arrow is one of those skills where if you don't have a bunch of support gems, it's going to play really poorly. But ultimately, we wouldn't need Armor Break anyways, because all Armor Break is doing is giving us Frenzy charges with Resonance. But yeah, that goes over all the questions you could possibly have about how viable this character could be. Controlled Metamorphosis is something you're not going to have access to right away, but these will be more accessible because this Chaos Res mod is not there anymore. You will not be price gated out of getting a good one of these. I mean, regardless, even if you had one that was minus 10% all LE, worst case scenario, your reses aren't capped, whatever. We just did that map with 25 cold res, just don't die, forehead. But yeah, I'm going to go over some of the nodes now. This one's just good for 1 point. hits against you have reduced critical bonus. Pretty nice. Immediately pathing down here. Anytime you see a red line, this is going to be your weapon swap for Boneshatter. So whenever you see red, just think attack speed. This is a dead stat, but this one is not. 8% attack speed for 2 points. That's as if these were both 4 and 4. Also, this condition is met all the time. And what else do we got? A bunch of attack speed here. All of this, defensive jewel. You're going to need, this has dead stats on it, but you're going to need something with mana on kill. We'll go over this later. More attack speed here. And some accuracy. Attack speed, attack speed, attack speed, attack speed. Spring hair, we're using lightning damage. It's not bad. I'm going to try to limit how many times I say because my last video, holy, made it in the middle of the night or early in the morning. Not sure if I had slept yet, but wow, that video was just full of uhs and ums. Skill speed here. Dance with Death we unspec to elicit a point on stream. You will still have access to this. In fact, I'll give you a before and after. This is how fast it is without it. So you actually could put a second something here. It's up to you. This is what it's more similar to with the skill speed multiplier, because Dance with Death is not getting nerfed. This isn't going anywhere. It's actually kind of funny that we didn't have that spec the whole time, but even without this, this is still faster than any movement speed in the game, so long as your clear can match the speed that you move, right? As long as you can get to your destination and kill everything instantly and keep moving, your clear is directly tied to how quickly you can attack. Alright, Frazzled, obviously this is just single target stuff. This is not going to help you in your maps unless you are doing enough damage to shock every click, in which case you would benefit from the shock 2-click magnitude damage increase, right? This is going to help you with your rares pretty much, your rares and your bosses for 4 points. Some of the best stats you can get in the game. Just direct multiplier to your damage, but Maiming Strike is nice, just 3 points for flat damage. We had to take a dex note over here, you can ignore that just to get our gear on. Feathered Fletching, we were testing rare quivers, you can ignore these 3 points. So this character is using a level 97 tree. There are like points that I was testing that I forgot to unspec. This would be a good example of those, but obviously the build guide's going to be down below. We took out our time lost that would be in this position, but all it had anyways was increased effective notables, which was going to give us more damage and a bunch of critical hit chance. I didn't want to represent like you were going to have one of these early. These aren't that hard to come by early, but I just wanted to keep it as fair as possible. And yeah, we talked about the controlled metamorphosis. If you don't have one of these early, or you can't justify getting one of these early, this is an item that I'm speed running to, by the way, because it saves you so many points in tree. You just think about the character power that you get for your jewel socket. You're saving like, I think it's 7 points. We deliberately didn't spec Wildstorm, by the way, because this is getting nerfed. This node is going to turn into 2 5% extra mods of, I think it's 10 dex, 5 gain extras lightning, and 5 gain extras cold. It's probably still going to be really good for 1 point, but we didn't spec this because we didn't want to over-represent what the damage is going to look like again. So keep that in mind, but if you take this, that's 7 points. Also, this is spec'd on weapon swap so that you can get your curses off of you. Really important to get one of these early. Probably ruining the market for myself in some small way, but keep that in mind. Yeah, defensive jewel up here. It's got mana on kill. It's got a little bit of magnitude of ailments. And yeah, patient barrier. Obviously we're going CI. You take a basement so you don't have to worry about it. Charms, nothing crazy. You don't need to follow the axe charm. Just rush to a regular silver charm, because getting slowed is cringe and it'll get you killed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I can't stress how important Zealous Inquisition is. Incredibly broken. The 10% chance is irrelevant. Ignore that that's 1 in 10 monsters. There are X amount of monsters in a pack. Everyone seems to be talking about how pack size is going to affect things like this. Don't worry about it. Once your maps are super juiced, you're not going to notice a difference. This can proliferate, so you can click 1 time, and 1 Zealous Inquisition can kill an entire screen of monsters. And it feels a lot better with within a breach, but ultimately you're not going to notice it when you're just blasting. This just means that you don't have to spend spirit on useless things. We've just got charge regulation, Herald of Thunder, nothing super crazy. Wind Dancer just because. You don't even need this, to be honest. And then you have 50 spirit to spend on whatever you want. Unfortunately, there aren't that many spirit things that are worth using if you're just pure energy shield. I think things like convalescence are alright, but I'm not going to go out of my way to cook up a high level spirit gem for convalescence early. Everyone was talking about the sorcery ward changes. I think they're unnecessary in softcore. If you want to run them, you know, don't let me knock it. It's your character after all, but we're not going to be using sorcery ward. The order that we're going right away, the first thing you take is Zealous Inquisition, the next thing you take is Weapon Master, and then did somebody just follow while we're offline? That's so funny. Hopefully that makes it in the video. That is hilarious. Just a notification in my ear that scared the hell out of me, I'm not gonna lie. Then you go Killing Strike and Decimating Strike. I usually go speed run straight to Zealous Inquisition, and then get Weapon Master as soon as I can, like as soon as I can safely run a Sekimus with second bosses. And then after that, I just wait until Zarok and I get points 5 through 8 instantly. So yeah, no rush on these. This is just single target stuff anyways. Like the Killing Strike is kind of nice, I guess, but ultimately you're trying to get Decimating Strike. That's the most important part, because it's taking life away from the enemy before you damage them. But yep, obviously we've got low life interactions, or full life interactions, sorry, because of CI. We're no longer running the companions. This character would have room for a companion, and you could definitely make room for Inspiring Ally. I guess I'll talk about that now because it's relevant, but we don't know what the changes to these nodes are. For example, like every single one of these nodes is 22% increased damage. If you want to compare that to any reference, that's like a Maiming Strike. This is a 25, and this is 3 points to get to, so it's 3 points of pathway. For 5 points, you get 88, and you can influence this presence thing by just getting a companion that's faster. There is one that I can show that is near the trader in the interludes. It's a bug and it flies really fast. And if you're going to do the companion thing, you want to go get this node presence present. So this is 10, 16, 16, 35 increase attack damage while you have an ally in your presence. Obviously the companion's an ally. The companion is also a minion. So if you do all of this, you decide on the companion, we read these nodes, and instead of them saying like 12 and 5 or something, they're like 12 and 8. This is still the best single source of damage for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus these 4 over here for 9 points. There is nothing that will outscale this. It is just broken, outside of obviously crit stacking and whatnot. But really important that you get tier 1 crit on your weapon as soon as you can. This is going to scale the majority of your damage. It's a multiplier, because the bonus is everywhere. And Careful Assassin is better than Throat Seeker, especially early. It's also better late. But outside of that, what changes? Resonance is not a necessary spec until you get charge regulation online. Ultimately, this is just more skill speed. Ignore my use of the word more skill speed. It's actually going to be increased skill speed next league, but we've already lined it up so that it plays similar to how it's going to play. You saw how the Boneshatter was moving. We did the math. But what else? What else? Oh, if you're going to do the companion setup, lost my train of thought there. Definitely take Minion Pact support in all of your gems. Right here. If you're not familiar with the Minion Pact tech, Minion Pact 2. It's a 1.35x damage multiplier. The minion is always nearby you. The companion is a minion and an ally. Keep this in mind. Obviously, your companion, you need to keep him at level 9 for stat requirements. Just save yourself the headache. Don't make your companion gem level 15 or something. If he dies every now and then until you get access to Brutus Brain, which is likely going to be expensive early, but will drop in price late. Forget you can't gem cut a Brutus Brain, you gotta actually buy one. This just makes it so that he can't be damaged by other enemies. The Minion Pact tech works with Brutus Brain. We abused it all league long. It is not in the patch notes. It did not get nerfed. And yeah, something to look forward to. Also, ignore that we have 2 mana flasks. You can do this with Wastegate. They did not fix this bug in the patch notes. They fixed a different one. If you're using Ambrosia in any single target skills in any of your builds, the Wastegate tech still works. Basically, you just equip a Wastegate, you equip a second mana flask, you unequip a Wastegate, and Ambrosia will benefit from extra lightning damage from this tech. We're just giving out game on game today. Also, while we're here and we're talking about the companion, Remember, this is assuming that these little highway nodes that they said they nerfed are still usable. If this says 12.8, 12.7, anything like that, 10.10, any combination of that, honestly, if those nodes are 17% increased damage or better, they're still better than everything. It is definitely worth using, and you should go to the bazaar here, and I will show you where to catch this companion, just in case, so I don't have to update this video in the comment section. Go out the rightmost door, it's random where it spawns you anyways, and there's going to be a trader when you get to this stage of the game. Let's see where it spawned me. Okay, it's always going to be top right over here. And let's see if we can find him early so I don't look like a dingus. Where's he at? Where's he at? Right here. This bug and this bug right here can be checkpoint farmed. And you have two monsters that you can read the mods on. You're looking for Haste Aura and Hasted, or Haste Aura and Enraged. Those are the two mods that make him move faster. One is a prefix, one is a suffix. Basically, you just hover him over and over and over. Look for it. This monster used to have an inherent Haste Aura, but now it must have the mod Haste Aura to give you the Haste Aura. So you basically just refresh these two over and over and over. When you find the one that you want, you use your Tame Beast support gem on the monster before you kill it, and then you can use the Tame Beast spirit thing. It's got a 42.3% reservation. After quality, obviously we're only using 50% of our spirit, so this is going to take away 42. It's going to round down, and you'll have that online instantly. Immediately, once you get that online, I would look to refund your worst damaging nodes, which would probably be something like this over here, Careful Assassin. Probably drop them Aiming Strike. If your single target suffers, you get rid of Frazzled first, which is this node. And what else could you get away with dropping really early? Defenses, obviously, you wouldn't need something like Crashing Wave. These nodes are dead anyways, and you just immediately pick up Inspiring Ally on Weapon Set 2, and Presence Present. That's as thorough as I can make the vid. Of course, I'm going to think of 1,000 things before the actual release. This is all just to subsidize the Twister character, though. We can make our own video on that, but ultimately it won't matter if I make the video now because I do not recommend it as a league starter. I think it's going to be like pretty difficult to get online early. Just because I have to go do the Coolamox trials and whatnot, and I gotta craft a spear, and I gotta get a Sacred Flame, and all of these things are not cheap early. So we'll use this character, we'll crutch the Kadiros, we'll try to get a decent bow, and yeah, that's our plan for League start. Obviously there are better versions of all this gear that exist, but we wanted to make sure we had dead stats everywhere to show you that you do not need some overpowered character early. And yeah, we've got an Anoint that doesn't do anything here too. What does this even do? Gain stun threshold equal to the lowest evasion and armor on your helmet. Oh, this is just going crazy with the build. But yeah, try to get a mace as quick as you can. Do yourself a favor, attack speed, strength, or attack speed, reduce attribute requirements. Everything else is irrelevant. All the other stats are irrelevant. If you can get some extra accuracy, that's nice. Make sure you rock an attack speed soul core and a skill speed core. 2-socket one of these with a sanctified overroll, and the attack speed is going to be best in slot. But we happen to have a 3-socket one, and I just put random stuff in it because these can't have 3 attack speed mods. Also, this Talisman of Sirius for this might be rare, might be expensive, but I feel like if you get one early, you can get really snipey. This shouldn't be more than a div, but that's assuming you have a pair of gloves worth putting them in. Keep that in mind. But, okay, I feel like I've covered literally everything. Remember, you're not going to have 10,000 energy shield on League start. Imagine that number says 6.5. I just wasn't willing to go buy 50 million pieces of gear just to make a video when you guys don't care about the defenses anyways. It's League start. But, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for enabling me to do this. If you have any questions about the character, drop them in the comments below. The purchase order for the character, by the way, try to get a bow as soon as you can. I'm a big fan of getting helmet and chest piece early, just so you don't die. Kadiros is going to be cheap. Just buy the first Kadiros you can get. It doesn't matter what the attack speed roll is on it, remember that we're going to be double corrupting things like this, so you might be able to get some cool stuff on that. And the mace. Outside of that, buy these things at your own discretion, whatever deals you can get. Anything you can snipe with life searches is good. But yeah, that's the purchase order. And a controlled metamorphosis. That is the order that you want to buy your stuff. If you can get a Heart of the Well early too, this is probably the only thing that was kind of unfair. I'll show you the difference in tooltip. 15k, this is like 7k influence. That's a lot of damage. That's like 30% of our damage. Get one of these early too. They're really good. And the only mods that are important are the gain ones. But we're jumping out of here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I've said this already. I keep thinking of new things, but it saves me from having to type out a big Bible in the description or comment section. But yeah, you guys are awesome. The league's gonna be great. This is what I've settled on for what I'm gonna play early. And yeah, no Roa, no more Roa. We're not doing that Roa stuff, okay? The Roa needs to breathe. Give him a break, okay? But yeah, you guys are amazing. I'll catch you in the next video. And if you have any questions about the Twister Lich, pull up to the stream. We're live every day. And thank you guys so much for the support in the recent videos. I love the support lately. You guys are awesome, and it motivates me. I will catch you guys later. Peace out, bros.